Bonjour. Are you thinking the music is too loud? Should I turn it down? I have it set so that it's over everything. So I want to make sure that it's not too loud, that you can hear me over it, and that. How's it sound? Like it? Is it Gucci? Also, hello. Don't want to change it before anybody says anything. Hello, son. I'm being colored by Abrello. Makes sense. How is this? Is the music okay? Can everybody hear me? Am I Gucci? You tried to wrong name, yes. How? I adjusted it. Hopefully it's not too quiet now. I can tell. Yes, I can tell that, Sutton. We're having fun. This is Gucci. How is everybody doing? You having fun? I need... This is C4. You talking energy drinks up in here. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Sutton? Apollo, I bet you're great. That's Cluedo. Hadra. Cluedo. And then I'm just gonna assume that the music is okay. Is nobody saying anything about it? Oh, Apollo. The board game. Yes. I don't know what that is. I understand it is a board game. However, I do not understand what the board game is. Are we talking like Clue? Me being me, I made it to my stream on time. I just didn't. What? I made it to my stream on time. I just forgot to have everything. Everything okay? I'm doing all right. Majahadra. I had a little bit of a draining week. Yeah. I had a bit of a draining week. Mainly just getting used to my new schedule. But I'm feeling better now. Feeling good. I have an energy drink so I can deal with Sutton. Okay. Okay. And now Why would I do that like that? You guys don't understand what's happening. I'm going to show you what is happening soon. But for right now, what we are going to do, we are going to move over to, we're going to move over to my desktop here. And we're going to talk about some world building. So, if you hadn't caught on, we're going to be talking about some Sons of Nimbus today. And that is the working title for this card game that I've been working on and messing with. So we have, I guess I should give some basic information. I guess I should make sure y'all know what I'm talking about. So, long story short, in a lot of trading card games, they don't just create cards. They don't just come up with cards and names and mechanics out of the blue. What they do is they will create lore. Autocumulus. I'm always a fan of the classic Cumulo Nimbus. Big boys, big, thick. No way that I continue that sentence is going to sound right, so I'm just gonna say big. Big scary. That's why I like Cumulo Nimbi. But so a lot of trading card games just don't come up with stuff out of the blue. They have some sort of story behind it, or they have some lore behind it. In fact, here I have some magic cards to explain what I'm talking about. No, Madra Hadra, no. So, dropping things. Well, yeah, let me move back to full me so I can demonstrate. So, we're looking at magic cards, alright? Beautiful, beautiful things. And people didn't just come up with Carmonix, the Rat King, out of nowhere. Whoever said that the rats needed a king? Apparently they do, according to the lore of Magic the Gathering. And yes, this is a Phyrexian rat, as the typing indicates. Phyrexian rat, right? It's like, what is Phyrexia? What does Phyrexian mean? There's Kemba, Ka Enduring, who is a cat cleric. Don't ask me why. It just, there are cats that are clerics. But note, Phyrexian, and non-Phyrexian. These two come from the same set. So there's something going on that these two cards come from the same set of Magic the Gathering. So there's like something going on there. We can! Oh, I was planning on it, Apollo. But, so, these come from the set called Phyrexia All Will Be One. And this set takes place on the plane of existence, known as Phyrexia. You look at a few of these. Okay. Aegon, God of Death. Carter, Doomscourge. And Finn the Fangbearer. All of these come from a set known as Kaldheim. And the plane that these cards hail from, the plane that these characters hail from, is something called Kaldheim. So, there's like this level of lore to it. These different planes of existence, right? Then, we have things called planeswalkers, which are, when you're playing, like the mechanics-wise, planeswalkers are just extra players. You have other players in the game that can do things for you. But lore-wise, these guys exist as sojourners, if you will. If you'll excuse the terminology, they're sojourners. They can travel between these planes. They are planes walkers. Now, again, this implies that there is some level of lore behind it. They didn't just come up with the Eternal Wanderer. They didn't just come up with Kaya. They didn't just come up with Liliana. They didn't just come up with Jace. They didn't just come up with Asajani? I forget his name. There's reasons that these things exist. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Hold up, I'm gonna pick up the magic card draw. Ay, ay, ay. Excuse me. There we go. In Yu-Gi-Oh! There is a heck of a lot of lore. There's a heck of a lot of stories. Tikoptisayam. Nice son. In Yu-Gi-Oh! There are a lot of stories that are told through card art. Card art, card names, mechanics of the card, which is something I like. I like that a lot. I love when card games do that. A Sotenkun. Okay, so in Yu-Gi-Oh, there's lore that's told in the cards. Like, there's not an overarching lore as far as I'm aware. Like with the set, the magic set, like the magic set, the Brothers' War. The Brothers' War details a war between two brothers and the different creations and machines and all those things and places where it took place and all that stuff. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Tells independent stories. Stories of the cards on their own. Stories of the cards in and of themselves. So, like, Apollo was talking to me about these. There's one story similar to, like, Pandora's Box. Where a lady messed with some things that she shouldn't have, ended up getting scolded by Big Father Judgment. She kept doing things, and she kept getting scolded, and it ended up getting worse, and then old Father Judgment told her, like, okay, no more, you're a witch now. You're an evil witch. And then, if I'm correct, she became more power hungry. Am I correct, Paulo? Um, and what happened? And there's another story. If I'm correct, she became more power hungry and grew more, became stronger. Um, so if we look at, there's another set of cards that details a monster hunter, a dragon hunter that killed a dragon who had a child, who had a baby dragon. And the dragon hunter raised this dragon because the dragon, the baby dragon, had not shown that there's any reason to be afraid of them. There's no reason that this dragon was gonna hurt anybody. So, dragon hunter kept him, grew and grew and grew, and the baby dragon started absorbing some of the evil that had been absorbed into the Dragon Slayer's sword, right? And that the Dragon Slayer's sword, and that turned that dragon evil. So the Dragon Slayer had to kill the dragon. But there's also an alternative ending in the cards. There is that alternative ending where it's like, what if he never became evil? So, I really like that storytelling as well. That's a really cool thing. And I'm positive that I've lost half of you, right? But the point still stands, there's world building in that. So, that's what we're working on today. We are going to be working on mainly lore for this card game. And I decided, me being me, I decided to stick with the Magic the Gathering sort of world building, where it's kind of like, yeah, we can have a few things going on at the same time and just get away with having it because of something. So we're gonna move over to desktop, and let me know if this is too small. But talking about something, I need more energy. I'm too sober for this. Let me know if this is too small. But this yellow here, this represents the time frame in which this first generation of the card game would take place, right? So okay, the Google Sheets text is readable. Is it readable, or is it... I'll zoom in a little bit. Okay, yeah, this is actually Gucci. Yes, we can scroll. We don't need to worry about it. So this yellow bit, if that's what you were saying, this yellow bit here, this is where jeez, what the heck is happening? Okay. So, this is where the main chunk of this card game is going to take place, right? Where the main lore is going to happen. So, there's this thing, the summoning of the Nimbuses. What the heck are the Nimbuses? Well, let's look back at the beginning. The genesis of the Dynamist Stone. What the heck is a Dynamist Stone? So, that is my method of being like... That is my method of creating multiple worlds for things to happen in. So, what happens is, with this Dynamist Stone created infinite worlds with infinite beings, with possibly infinite worlds, with possibly infinite beings, with possibly infinite blah blah blah, and possibly infinite blah blah blah, and possibly infinite blah blah blah. So, that's essentially my way out if I ever want to break out of this timeline, right? Because we'll get into some other things. We'll get into some other things about why I might want to change some things in other realms. But with the genesis of the Dynamist Stone, you have the creation of something called the Nimbuses, which is essentially my take at godlike beings that are not gods. Something akin to planeswalkers. Am I on the wrong side of the... Okay, yeah. Something akin to planeswalkers, right? These things that can exist outside of a world. Oh, those are so sick. Things that can exist outside of a physical world. Godlike things that don't have the power of creation per se on their own, but are powerful in and of themselves. Right? So we have this Dynamist Stone, which Ursaj, Vectin, Bry, and Zunir, or Bray and Zunir, I'll have to figure out. Actually, Bray is the... Bray would be the Order faction. Okay. Well, we'll change that. I can change that. I'll add an R in there before I forget. Bry. Okay. So, Ursaj, Vectin, Bry, and Zunir. 4 of these Nimbuses, 4 of these godlike things, they recognize the power of the Dynamist Stone and are like, no. I don't like that. Then Ursaj and Vectin destroy it. Bry and Zunir banish them. Not obliterate. They still exist. But something happens, and the Nimbuses are able to create the world. The world that their own world. They create their own world. So we have 4 factions: the faction of Ursaj, faction of Vectin, faction of Bry, and faction of Zunir. And they create their own world. And then eventually, they create their own world with their own beings and their own whatevers, like spore folk, are essentially mushroom people. Mushroom man. That are just their own mushroom men. That are just mushroom men. Draugr, I guess, is an interesting way to put it. It's not quite Draugrs, but they're not quite zombies, but they're not quite humans. I guess drow, non-elf drow, way to put it. Humans and engineers, I guess is another way to put that fourth faction. Kind of like the engineers from that one movie where they speak Proto-Indo-European. Gosh. Clickers! Like that, Majahadra. But if we look here, these creations didn't really like their creators, so they banished. Note, banished. Banished. That's the important part. They banished the Nimbuses. These things that are pretty much gods. They just said, no, we don't like you. And then, got rid of them. The method of how it happened, I know for Vectin, it's that Vectin was sealed in a suit of armor. A suit of armor that was ultimately made useless. I forget. I don't know exactly how yet. We'll have to figure that out. But like for others, like we can say, like Ursaj. So Vectin is the Nimbus of the Chaos faction, and what the Chaos faction does is it gets rid of stuff. Like mechanically, it gets rid of stuff to bring stronger stuff out. So like, it's also the one faction that will pay attention to what is on the board, on the battlefield. Like it'll pay attention to the fact like how many units are in play, how many creatures or how many cards that can do damage are on the field at any one time. Do we like are there any, like it'll look at your opponent's battlefield, it'll look at your battlefield, because it's not just like chaos, it's organized chaos. It's I'm trying to think. It's not chaos for chaos's sake. It's chaos to offset order. Is what the Chaos faction does. So, what happens is, I was going somewhere with that. Oh, so Vectin being banished or exiled into a singular suit of armor that cannot move is the antithesis of what Vectin is. So we can go into that actually. Let's look at this. The banishment of the Nimbuses. Vectin. The banishment of the Chaos factions. Patron god, I guess, was truly fitting. Being placed into a immobile, heavy suit of armor with being locked. Being locked into an immobile, heavy suit of armor while beasts of all factions cast Really? No, because here's the thing. Vectin came from Vecna. I was thinking Vecna the entire time I was coming up with that character. I'm just like, can I copy your homework, bro? Yeah, just change it a little bit. Just change it a little bit so nobody knows. So you're not all that off there. Okay, so the banishment of the Chaos faction's patron god was truly fitting, being locked into an immobile, heavy suit of armor while priests of all faction cast a binding. That's what the word is. Spell. This binding spell, keeping him. Okay, it's a god. What gender? Keeping it. We'll just say it. In an infinitesimally small space. Cell, holding chamber. An infinitesimally small oh, what are we gonna call it? Infinitesimally small magic cell. There we go. Okay, so Vectin. The antithesis of Vectin, you know, the chaos, destruction in wake of creation. Destruction in wake of progression, I guess, is Vectin's sort of deal. Or just the chaos factions whole deal. So let's look at Usaj. Or Usaj. So let's look at what Usaj does and what the creation faction does. Mechanically, the creation faction is all about bringing stuff onto the field that can interact with itself. Or that can interact with other stuff on it. So, say like, let's just create a few fake creatures. So, we'll say there's like a bunch of creatures. Okay, right? So there are a bunch of creatures here. We have a 1/1, 1 power, 1 life, 2, or 1 damage, 1 defense, 2 damage, 2 defense, 0 damage, 5 defense, and 5 damage, 2 defense. Now let's say that all of these follow the creation factions. All of these follow the creation factions mechanic of Woven, where all woven damage and defense together and act like one singular unit. Okay, so if we're looking at this, right? We're looking at this. These are four cards, 4 units that all have different damages, first number, and defenses, the second number. But if they all have woven, they all become seven. No, not 7. They all become 8. 8 and 10. They all become 8 power, or 8 damage, and 10 defense. Because they all add up their damage and defense to themselves, and then they all act like one singular unit. Now, woven is a bit of a misnomer, because Ursage doesn't weave with threads. Ursage weaves with metal. So, I think it would be fitting for Ursage, the banishment of Ursage, to look something like being melted down. Being melted down into a puddle of metal, and then just held at an infinitely high temperature. The big thing we have to remember with this is that there was the banishment, right? They discovered the fragments, and then the Nimbuses were summoned. Again. Right? So it's not a question of, like, what is... Not a question... Like, these banishments can't just be something like... something they can take back, right? So, like, Vectin's banishment, I think... I think that could make sense if, like, if there were a bunch of priests that all died while casting the binding spell. So nobody knows the way to... Like, nobody knows the way to get him out of there. Nobody knows... Oh my gosh, nobody knows the spell to let him out, right? That makes sense to me. So all... casting spell. Yeah, we're trying. That is quite an Uno reverse, but it didn't end up helping Vectin. All of the priests casting this spell died due to the amount of pure chaos. The amount of pure chaos! Pure chaos! Oh my gosh, making this just feels so dorky. But I like it. Like, this is something that I recognize 100% that in the future, if this becomes popular, kids are gonna be bullied for it. Like, but it's great. Because you know that those kids that are gonna get bullied for it are just 100% not gonna care. It's like that sort of thing. It's like, as I'm explaining the lore, I'm just unabashedly like, yeah, it's cool, it's stupid, but it's cool. All the priests casting the spell died to the amount of pure chaos released. Due to the amount of pure chaos Vectin released in anger. Ah! All the priests casting the spell died to the amount of pure chaos Vectin released in anger. Like, that's just fantastic. I love it. It's so dorky. But it's, like, perfect. Okay, so Ursage. So the idea that Ursage would be melted down. Again, they would need a few priests to bind him. Or they would need something that isn't metal, chains that aren't made out of metal. It is epic, Majahadra! It's epic! It's just so dorky though, and I love it. I love every single second of it. So, Ursage, they would need chains that aren't made out of metal. Because Ursage would just 100% break out of that. Because, you know, he weaves metal. It's not like fabric. He weaves metal like it's fabric, right? Or like it's... He weaves metal like it's... yarn. Or string. There we go. That's the word. So... the patron... the god... Ursage... the god Ursage's end... was... God Ursage's end... So, okay. So we'll say a lot of this happened because of blue-collar workers. Woodworkers and... I love that Majahadra! That is so sick! That is so sick! Okay. The god Ursage's end. Oh, and we can still keep it with like this idea of blue collar workers, like people who made stained glass, right? People who made glass. So that this light could be formed. So that this light could be formed in ways by priests. And I say priest, that's interchangeable with wizard. By the hand of very Years. But by the hand of the very engineers it had created. Being bound by chain of light, mages being bound by chains of light, mages okay. Being bound by chains of light, engineers created lenses. Engineers created lenses of glass meant to focus beams of light. Meant to focus beams of light onto Saj. Mages. Okay. This is so cool that I just can't think it out properly. Okay. Being bound by chains of light, engineers created lenses of glass meant to focus beams of light onto Ursaj. Mages focused and intensified the light. Caused Ursaj to melt into a That's sick. That's sick. Mages focused and intensified the light, which caused Ursaj to melt into a puddle of metal, flesh, and bone. So that would give us a reason that they could just not release Ursaj. That would be the reason. Because they can't put him back together. That's how we wouldn't end up. That's how we would end up not being able to get him back. Until we got this boy back. The fragments of the Dynamist Stone. Okay. Now, for Bry. This is the leader of the Order. The faction of Order. Right? Well, you wouldn't know that, but y'all wouldn't know that because I haven't told you this before, but the point still stands. Bry is the patron god of faction of Order, where mechanically I think the Order faction would be like I actually haven't gotten a lot of thought. I haven't gone through a lot of thought for like the mechanics for the Order faction. But maybe the Order faction might just be like searching through your deck, like looking for certain cards. So like the randomness just doesn't matter. But it's all about, like, what... I'll have to mess with that. I'll have to think about that. But... Because I know what the destruction faction is going to be. The destruction faction is just going to be based around alternative ways to destroy things. So rather than just doing damage, you could also, other than just doing damage the normal way, you would also do damage alternative ways, like attacking different units or attacking different things. So yeah. But the Order faction, the Bry, or Bray, or whatever, I think it would be quite fitting for Bray to be banished into a maze. An ever-changing, infinitely expanding, ever-changing maze. Because nothing stays the same. I like that idea. So, that note, I will return in a hot moment. I will be back. Bonjour. Right. So, we're back in. We're here for the 2 whole hours this week. For the whole 2 hours this week. The heck? Oh my gosh! Okay. Bray or Bry or an ordered life. A chaotic. An ordered life calls for a chaotic end. Ooh. Bry was an ordered life calls for a chaotic end. Bry pocket vanished into a pocket ever expanding Bray was banished into an ever expanding, ever changing maze under ever-changing maze under the false pretense that there would be a way mages sorcerers who created this dimension had to remain inside who created this pocket dimension had to remain inside, maintain its the sorcerers who created this pocket dimension had to remain inside to maintain its continuity? Echo, define continuity.
Continuity is usually defined as the state or quality of being continuous. For more, ask me to give you more definitions for continuity.
Echo, give me more definitions for continuity.
I have 5 more definitions for the noun, continuity. 1. A continuous or connected whole. 2. A motion picture scenario giving the complete action, scenes, etc., in detail and in the order in which they are to be shown on the screen. 3. The spoken part of a radio or television script that serves as introductory or transitional material on a non-dramatic program. 4. The property of a continuous function. 5. Sets of merchandise, as dinnerware or encyclopedias, given free or sold cheaply by a store to shoppers as a sales promotion.
Continuity is the right word to use. To do so, sorcerers also created the pocket Sorcerers who created this pocket dimension had to remain inside to maintain its continuity. So there's your reason why you can't just resummon Rye. It became a closed system. Then Zunir. So Zunir, in the lore, is presented as a Mother Nature sort of deal. Zunir is constantly growing, like a plant. Yeah. Constantly growing. So what we're looking at here is something that will stop Junior from growing. And in fact it'll stop Junior from growing. In fact, it will not just stop, it will destroy Junior. So, Weed Killer! No, this is fantasy, so we need to make a magic weed killer. I was thinking maybe they tried that at some point. Maybe they tried just a spell to kill it all. But Zunir is, like, too big. So the question becomes, like, how can they contain Zunir? So maybe like a death field? Or a death plane, if you will, if you understand the gaming terminology for that. Like, just something that if Zunir moves too close, it will kill them. And if Zunir... I also like the idea, the Zunir could be like a sort of lichen sort of deal, where there are infinite cells in Zunir that function as brains, so killing one part of it, killing its head... Driving of water. So here's the thing: Zunir's a god. Is a god. Like Ursaj, obviously has flesh and bone, which throws a whole thing into that. But these things are unique, right? Ursaj is the only one that has a physical. Ursaj would be the only one, possibly, with flesh and bone. But are they thirst? But are they thirst? I don't know. I don't know how much... I don't know how much these things... How much the... Nimbuses require outside sustenance. Huh. I don't know. Hello, Ever! Welcome, you finally made it! But yeah, it's like... I don't know, given that these are godlike things that had to exist before a world existed. What do we call Zunir? Like, what would Zunir need? That's good to hear, Ever. How are you? Okay, Ever, since you're here, I guess I should do a quick recap for everybody who is tuning in. Right now, we're talking about lore. Lore for this card game that I'm making. Something akin to the way Magic the Gathering handles its lore. It handles it in its cards and even outside of its cards. But it uses that lore to create cards. You needed cornstarch. Sutton, that's not good. There's a reason that it has two different names. I learned that lesson the hard way when I tried to make flour use flour instead of bread flour. Where I tried to make bread. Okay. But right now we're looking at the banishment of godlike creatures. Right now we're looking at one that is constantly viewed as like a Mother Nature plant-like, eternally growing thing. Where they might have tried a sort of a magic weed killer on it, but it didn't work because Zunir is just too big. So what I've been thinking of is like a plane, a death plane. Like an encapsule, or something that would encapsulate it. Not circumvent. Circumvent is not the right word. Oh my gosh, encase it, that would kill it if it got too close. So, it's interesting because the Destruction faction is manned by plants. Just gonna say that. Growth. Yes. Yes, we all know that. Yes, Ever, we all know that you worship Fecton. With eternal growth, one looks. With eternal growth, one looks ahead, see eternal death. Priests, all factions, set up magical death planes so that whatever might touch them, will die. seeing as in let's just ever read the thing because it's eternally growing. Because it's eternally growing, it's eternally dying. Get your head in the game, man! Magical death plane so that whatever might touch them will die. Setting these up around. Setting these up around. Setting these up around Zunir caused the eternally growing god thing. Eternally growing god thing. Setting these up around Zunir caused the eternally growing god thing. Pieces of itself. And the reason that you can't get Zunir back from this is because trying to take down those death planes would kill you. Because it's a death plane. So, time and... See, you say that, but I can go in and I can look. You ready? You ready? We better zoom! Because I can't read what you said, but we're gonna look. I can't look at it. It's too small. Okay, I can't see it. As soon as I went to read it, you retracted it. As soon as I went to read it, you retracted it. So you might as well just put it back up. I don't care. I don't think anybody cares here about people being wrong. Ugh. Hey. Listen. We're not gonna... Oh, that's where I put it. Sorry, ADHD is bad today. But, moving back to what we were doing. So, now we have banishment of these god creatures. And now... we have the banishment of these god creatures, and now we look forward to the lore. So, early wars begin. Now, these early wars come because of the discovery of the fragments of the Dynamist Stone. So, they discovered the fragments of the Genesis or the Dynamist Stone, and they're like, oh, we can create things. And now everybody's like, no, we want it. No, we want it. No, we want it. Then there are wars. Then people realized, wait, remember that thing that happened like 1,000 years ago? What if we just undid it? So during the early wars, these armies freed the Nimbuses and recreated them from their non-usable states. And because they did not have the full Dynamist Stone, they could never, like, fully just say, "You're free now!" So they had to do something. Oh, hello, Apollo. How are you? We're talking about murder. What? That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about banishment. One of them looks like murder, but it's not! Whew! So yeah. But yes, so these godlike creatures, the Nimbuses, they were banished. So I'm going to read through these quick for everybody who joined in. When Vectin was banished... Vectin. The banishment of the Chaos Faction's patron god was truly fitting, being locked into an immobile, heavy suit of armor while priests of all factions cast a binding spell, keeping it in an infinitesimally small magic cell. All of the priests casting the spell died to the amount of pure chaos Vectin released in anger. The god Ursage's end was by the hand of the very engineers it had created. Being bound by chains of light, Engineer created lenses of glass meant to focus beams of light onto Ursage. Mages focused and intensified the light, which caused Ursage to melt into a puddle of metal, flesh, and bone. Bry. An ordered life calls for a chaotic end. Bry was banished into an ever-expanding, ever-changing maze under the false pretense that there would be a way out. The sorcerers who created this pocket dimension had to remain inside to maintain its continuity. Then Zunir. With eternal growth, one looks ahead to see eternal death. Priests of all factions set up magical death planes so that whatever might touch them will die. Setting these up around Zunir caused the eternally growing god thing to eternally lose pieces of itself. Bry. It's Bry. Listen. Here's the deal. One of my brothers wanted a character named after them in the game. So I named... That's how we spell Bray. You know. Braden. Not Braden. No. Braden. You're Brather and Bray. This is chaos. This is chaos. This is chaos. Whatever is happening in my chat is just chaos. But yes, so now... The banishment of the Nimbuses. The banishment and reclamation. That's a word. Reclamation. Jalapenos, peach jelly, paprika. I don't know what your Brather and Bray means. But yes, so there's this thing called the Dynamist Stone, and what the Dynamist Stone does, the Dynamist Stone creates everything. Look at it, and it says it creates everything. Yes, like the stream, please. I need it. I am very caffeinated, so that's why I am the way I am. So the genesis of the Dynamis Stone. The Dynamis Stone created everything. Everything. So, among finding the pieces of the Dynamis Stone, people could create things. They could not create life. They could not create death. They could not do a lot of the things that they would want to do with this eternal power. So they would need things. They would need to do extra things. Yes, you are, Apollo. You would also need to do things. You would need to sacrifice. Everything created needs something sacrificed of more, lesser, oh no, it's equal or more value. Oh, what is it? The philosophy. Oh, the law of equivalent exchange. That's kind of what it is. The law of equivalent exchange simply states that for anything given, you must receive something of people with great... What? Yes, the fragments are pretty much just the Philosopher's Stone. Create anything out of anything. So yeah, create anything out of everything and create anything out of anything. But the problem with these fragments of the Dynamist Stone is that they're just fragments. They're not the whole Dynamist Stone. They're not the whole Dynamist Stone, which could just create. And the creation of the Dynamist Stone created everything. So, depending on your faction, you did different things to resummon your god. For Vectin, I had it in my head and in the game mechanics that Vectin required sacrifices, blood sacrifices. Like, blood sacrifices to be placed into the armor. Actually, let's look! Let's look at what the... Look! So we have normal spells. Vectin's Avatar. Equip target unit with Vectin's Avatar. After 5 turns, summon Vectin Ascended from your hand or the graveyard. Exile this... Okay, so it looks like it either required someone to wear the armor for Vectin to possess them, or when a unit you control is sent to the graveyard as a result of combat, and add 1 counter to Vectin's Husk. When Vectin's Husk has 5 counters on it, summon 1 Vectin Ascended from your hand or your graveyard. Exile this card. Apollo, I'm about to ban you. Beku. No. So Vectin. So it looks like what was necessary was either blood sacrifices or possession. Which I like possession. I like possession. Yeah, if you ever say ooh woo again, Apollo, gonna ban you. I'll do it. On that note, remember how I said I'm on caffeine? Remember how I said I'm on caffeine? Screw me. We're gonna. I'll be right back. I drank more than enough water ever. That's the problem I'm having. Also, magic cards. No, nobody's been banned. Sutton! Why are you oohing? Oohing. No, this isn't. This is just lands. My mother and I had ordered a bunch of lands so we could play Magic the Gathering and build decks. So yes, we now have all of the lands we could ever need. I wonder what what set these are from. Yeah. No, it didn't come in ever. Ever had ordered 1,000 magic cards for me. We're just waiting on that to come in. I don't know, Apollo. I just went to the bathroom. Two ways to... And 2 ways to resurrect a Vectin had been hypothesized. 2 ways to resurrect Vectin had been hypothesized. No! Not gonna be... Two ways to resurrect Vectin had been hypothesized. Blood sacrifices. Possession. Armor. It was... Nein, aber ich glaubte, dass du uns so ein Uhr mehr als ich. Das ist richtig, Apollo. Das ist sehr richtig. Ich denke, also bin ich. Oh. Langenscheid. Also. I think, therefore I am. Is that what you just said? Yes, Vectin does get 2 cards. 2 summoning cards. Vectin has Vectin's Husk, which, if you sacrifice... Nein, Apollo! Der TOS! Der TOS, Apollo! Nein! But yes, Vectin gets 2 cards that summon him. You get Vectin's Husk, which is a ritual. It's a ritual character. So it says, pretty much it says if it's been on the battlefield for 5 turns, okay, so yes. If 5 units die, Vectin's Husk becomes Vectin. And Vectin's avatar, after 5 turns. Google ist zu dumm, mein Deutsch verstehen. Aber du weißt das nicht! Du weißt das nicht! Oder du weißt das nicht, oder du bist zu dumm. für Google verstehen dir. Für Google dir verstehen. Vectin's avatar, long story short, if the thing that this is equipped to, if the unit that this is equipped to survives for 5 turns, then... Nine. No, ever. If the thing that this is equipped to survives for 5 turns, then we're looking at... this. Not that guy. This guy coming to the field. Aber bist du zu dumm, Google verstehen? Google dich verstehen? Hello, Apollo. No, we're not going to translate ever. If you want to know what Apollo just said, then just do it. Just look it up. Okay, translate it all. Oh, Apollo, don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, Apollo, that makes sense. Yeah. We're having fun. Ever. What the heck? Oh, I don't think I have it in me. I think I overworked my caffeine. So I think we're just gonna hang out for a hot second. Yeah, I think we're gonna... Apollo! The terms of service! The terms of service. Ever, no! No! Oh, Apollo. Alright. So we're gonna do an opening, guys. We're gonna do an opening. Right? This has now become a magic YouTube channel. We're gonna do an opening. Let's see. Ooh, fancy schmancy. Alright. Magic YouTuber now. Right. Let's... Planes! Another plane! Actually, are these all from the same set? No, okay. Oh no, they are! They're all from the same set. good ever? You can share something. If it breaks TOS, then sure. Okay, yes. No, no, Apollo! Is everybody okay? Oh my gosh, how far back am I? Oh my gosh. Holy crap. I can't. FBI will open up. Oh my gosh, what the heck? That's interesting. I'm looking at I'm looking at my live stream. Apollo, no! Apollo, no! What? I like how we got another viewer. Oh yeah, this is just chill time right now. We're kind of hanging, just hanging out, bro. Oh, I ain't got nothing to do. Ever! No! Stop it! No! Don't! Oh, Paula. How do I... I'm trying to separate these using... Guys. Not working. Not working! Wonder. I put... sleeves on these and slide them in. Yes! Yes, Apollo? What happened? What have you been waiting for 15 years? You ain't been waiting for me. I don't want to hear that. We're just gonna... Okay. There's one. Hello, Sutton child. Sutton child. You ain't been waiting for nothing, Apollo. Want to hear it? It's time to sleep deeper. Yes, thank you. Good night, Ever. Apollo, not Apollo. You're not Apollo. Ever, I know you have been waiting, but I don't care. We're already together. Hey, Sutton, you good? That's not good. Ever! The terms of service! Ever! Oh, you gotta love islands. Gotta love islands. What have we been oversawting? It's in coconut, it's milk. Ever the terms of service. Keine Daten. Hast du keine Daten? Was geht's los? Was geht's? Oh, I guess it's... Hi, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem, it's me. At tea time, everybody agrees. Oh no, the TOS! What's up, Apollo? Am I the drama? Swamps. Wir haben besucht. Wegen des... Wir haben versucht, sie wegen der Garantieverlängerung für ihr Auto zu kontaktieren. No, ever's never the problem. It's all of y'all. It's never just ever. It's not just ever. It's everybody. Oh my gosh. Y'all are psycho. Oh, Majahadra. Actually, Majahadra, you're good. I forgot you were here because you were quiet. But everybody else. Ich verstehe. Ich will nicht verstehen, aber ich verstehe. Yes. No, I told her I've not been diagnosed. Yet! Nein, ich bin nur nicht Ich bin nur nicht nüchtern. Was ist nüchtern? Oh, ist nüchtern? Das nüchtern mean nuts? Psychösig, ich bin nicht nüchtern. I love that. That's fantastic. Oh, all of the forests. Oh,